Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the 94 Feet Podcast. It's your boy, Big Z. I'm also here with my brothers, Dre.
What's good, y'all?
I'm also in the house with my brother, Kesey.
What's good, good people?
Man, how y'all week been going?
Man, week's been good.
Okay.
Going good.
I bet it has. Them stimmies been hitting.
Uncle Joe came through, even though he failed.
Thanks, Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe.
We appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Watch where you walking, brother.
So the game of the week was the Milwaukee Bucks versus 76ers. The Bucks have won the last 9 of their 10 games. They've been playing some good ball. And the 76ers been playing even better ball because they've been 2-0 without Joel Embiid due to injuries. Now, unfortunately, that was enough or wasn't enough because the Bucks still pulled through with a 109, a 105 in overtime win. The thing that I really pushed, or really not pushed, but really I noticed was Giannis putting up some real MVP numbers, and then the Bucks came through in the clutch. Did you guys happen to catch the game?
Yeah, I did. I was a little worried at the beginning of the game, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Bucks had me spooked for a second. I'm like, here we go again. But it's just something about the way they pull together in third and fourth quarters that they need to do in first and second halves, I think, and that's going to make them a better team.
I think around playoff time is one of those things where it hurts. That's why in playoff times it's always scary, because regular season, you're right, they have a lot of these games where they're like in it but not in it, and then you don't see the effort, and then by the time the third and fourth quarter comes, the effort is too late. I think that. But the good news is, since All-Star break, they've been playing some better ball, and they've been like moving the ball. They've been playing better ball, more together. I think the Drew Holiday coming back really helped out on the defensive and with scoring wise too.
I think that the Bucks once again are showing everyone why they are not built for the long haul of playoff basketball and championship basketball. The Milwaukee Bucks struggled to beat a 76ers team that did not have Joel Embiid playing. Joel didn't touch the basketball. He didn't put up his number. He didn't put up his double-double numbers because, of course, he was injured. And you beat the very injured. Obviously, Joel Embiid is the leader of the 76ers. We know that. Before his injury, he was arguably the leading candidate for MVP.
Mm-hmm.
You barely beat the Sixers without their star, and we're supposed to take you serious going into the postseason. I watched the game. A lot of bad things happened in the fourth quarter. Chris Middleton, has to do better. Okay, he has to play better.
Been saying that a long time now.
It cannot just be on Giannis. It can't. It cannot just be Giannis. Giannis will Giannis. What I will say about Giannis in that game, he is showing us MVP Giannis again. I did like that. He's sneaking back into the discussion. He is sneaking back into the MVP discussion.
He is sneaking back into the discussion. I think the every time they win, he gets it. But the numbers have been. You're right. Giannis is going Giannis. Let me just start there. Giannis is going Giannis, and for him, but they usually don't add up to dubs. And for him, the Giannis is and add up to dubs is the equalizer, because like we always talk about, in order for you to be MVP, or one of the things is that your team needs to be winning along, as you put these numbers up.
Yeah. And the other thing too that we have to remember, man, Ben Simmons didn't even have a great game. So again, you barely beat the team. Though. Yeah, but low triple-double. Low triple-double. You barely beat the team without their two biggest stars. The number one player for that team that night was Tobias Harris, a former Buck. So it was a good game.
But you have to look at it, though. The Philadelphia 76ers played a different type of game that game. They didn't play what they normally play, where they're dumping it down to Embiid 15 to 16 times a half.
Yeah, I think like Dre said, I don't take, because injuries are a part of the game. So I'm not going to say that they beat a Joel Embiid less team. It's at the end of the day, it's still the 76ers, and
no,
still
I disagree.
The 76ers.
I disagree because, to your point, yes, if the Bucks beat the Sixers, it's a win. right? It is a win. But every sports commentator, every podcaster that covers sports will say, yeah, but you did it without Joel.
So do they say that when the Bucks lose, now that Drew Holiday's back, well, they beat the Bucks without Drew Holiday?
Drew Holiday
or the games Giannis didn't play, and they say, well, they beat the Bucks without Giannis?
Absolutely, they do. When the Bucks were taken serious, but no one's taking them serious
right
now.
But when it comes down to the end of the season, and your record is what it is, are they going to look at who you beat by who was there?
When it comes time for playoff basketball, yes.
They're not going to look at that. That's
yes,
not going to determine if you make the playoffs. So if the Bucks,
it's not.
So if they fighting for the 8th seed, and they go, the Bucks in Atlanta got the same record at the end of the thing. Are they going to say, let's give it to the Hawks?
You're missing it. You're missing what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that yes, the Bucks beat the 76ers. But what I'm saying is Joel Embiid's not going to be gone for the whole season. And if you can't beat the Sixers without their best player by only 4 points, what's going to happen if we have to play the Sixers in a 7-game series with a full, healthy lineup? That's all I'm saying.
So let me ask you this question, because I think that I agree with you, because when you beat a team without their superstar, it does kind of make you look at it a little bit, because there's the win, but there's always that but right there. It's a big old donkey booty sitting right there every single time you talk about it. My question for you is, would have been a substantial win without Embiid? Because you say it was about 4, so would have been a substantial win if they won by 20. You would have felt differently.
So I would have felt better if they didn't struggle. Like let's not act like the Bucks didn't struggle that game.
But let's not act like the Bucks haven't struggled against other teams too. Teams that got their full teams, like they've struggled to beat the Magic quite often.
we know,
but
yeah, we know, and that brings me to the point. The Lakers didn't struggle to win the championship. Golden State didn't struggle to win the championship. Right? When you're competing for championships, you cannot have these simple struggles that the Bucks continue to have. It's like we play the first and second quarter of basketball, and that's it.
But the Bucks aren't the only team. The Lakers had struggles. It just wasn't in the play.
But we're talking about the Bucks. Okay?
It wasn't.
It's too early to break up LeBron, bro.
I know. I'm just saying, like, think of it like this. LeBron and them always had trouble with the Clippers. They couldn't beat the Clippers during the regular season.
I don't disagree with that.
That's true.
But they didn't even have a chance to even play them in the playoffs. So what difference do it make? They might not even have to play Philly in the playoffs.
All I'm saying
is my point I'm getting to.
Okay.
I get your point, but trust and believe that the Eastern Conference goes through 2 teams, the Nets and the 76ers, and the Bucks barely beat them.
Is that what you think?
That's exactly.
You better trust the process.
I trust the process, but I'm gonna tell you like this: when Embiid comes back, the Bucks have no answers for him.
I'm not gonna lie, we do kind of struggle in that center area. My last question for you two guys is, with this win, even though they were out without Embiid, because they may be without Embiid for a while, it was still a win.
Mm-hmm.
Are you encouraged by this win going forward? Because like I said before, they won their last 9 out of 10, and they're on a pretty good roll. Giannis is putting up MVP numbers again. They seem to be sparking at a very good time in the season. So, how encouraged are you going forward?
I'm a little bit more of a believer than I was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I should say. I ain't that much of a more believer, but just a little bit more. DiVincenzo has been playing a lot better basketball than I expected him to be playing. At this point.
Terrible fourth quarter play. I'm just saying.
He did have a terrible fourth
almost
quarter play.
Cost us the game.
But look at his stat line throughout the whole game. He contributed all the way across the board, scoring, passing, and defensively. So I got a little more faith in some of the players that's on that roster going forward.
I am a Bucks fan, born and raised, good and bad years.
Are you now? Continue.
So, are you questioning my loyalty to the Milwaukee Bucks?
I'm not questioning your loyalty. I'm just saying, like, you weren't sounding exciting this whole topic.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. I mean, it's basketball, right? If you play great, we give you your props. If you play terrible, we'll tell you played terrible.
Right.
So I am more excited, and I know that we're going to talk about it, but I am more excited about the Bucks' recent signing than I am how they're playing right now. What I will say is Giannis will Giannis. We know that. I'm excited about that. I will be more excited to see us get big wins, beat the big teams. And this was a good win, but I would have appreciated it more if Embiid played. But I'm just not fully bought into the Bucks being a team to beat right now. I'm just not.
Okay, well, since you did bring it up, the Bucks did acquire PJ Tucker recently for DJ Augustine and DJ Wilson and some draft picks. How is this pick? What does this mean for the Bucks?
On this deal, I'm going to give the Bucks a B+.
A B+.
A B+.
Okay. All right.
I ain't going to give them an A, but I'm going to give them a B+.
B+ is almost an A. But
no, it's not. We're educators here. No, it's not. Kids, a B+ is just that. Them like those kids that, you ask what your grades are, and they say, oh, I got a 3. No, you got a 2.8. You got a 2.9.
I almost had a 3-point. That's what they
right,
should
that's
say.
What you're really saying.
But they'll say, I had a 3-point. And then you see the report card and say 2.8777.
Hey kids,
That's not a 3-point, man.
Hey kids.
Don't lie.
Don't let this guy discourage you. Okay, you got that 2.8, you got that 2.9. That's damn near a 3-point. Don't let them discourage you. Don't let these African Americans try to downplay you. I'm all about the kids.
Then nobody didn't say nothing wrong with it. But
Don't make me
Yeah,
bust
say
out my
nothing wrong
Whitney.
with it. I mean,
Don't make me bust out the Whitney Houston. 'Cause
But-
I believe.
like I
they are the
said,
future.
it's a B+.
it's a B+.
I think PJ Tucker is going to be a pretty good asset to the Bucks in the way they play, because we're already a defensive sound team. We just struggle offensively, and I think his defensive abilities is going to allow us to play some different lineups that we haven't been able to play.
That's very true, and I do like that. I wouldn't go as high as a B+. I'll say a B- because just based on PJ Tucker's abilities and his skill set that he brings.
So what's the difference between a B- and a B+, man? Since
One
you
is
want to
on-
go there.
Well, a B-
One is-
is pretty bad.
a B-.
A B- is pretty bad. Now, that's
B- is
almost a
average.
C. Now, that you could
Exactly.
say that's almost
Exactly.
a C.
It's average.
Now, leave it to him. He will classify it for us.
He will. He's Dre's the teacher who's looking at you like almost at a 3.0, but you didn't. But you didn't, sir.
I resent that. I build up and uplift everyone that ever walks through my door.
You call it like it is. Nothing wrong with that, but you call it like it is for the kids. And while they sitting there crying, what you crying to me for? You got that C-. I don't know what you knew about that.
Wow.
But it's one of those things where like the skill set that PJ Tucker brings and how he moves, like Kesey said, is more of a defensive presence. He's there for the open shot, and so I think that when Giannis gets doubled in the paint for the playoff time, and he kicks it out to PJ Tucker, I'm more confident than PJ Tucker to hit that shot than I am about the white boy. So it's one of those things where, man, he white, man. We ain't got time for that. So I'm more confident in that he'll hit that corner 3. I'm more confident that he's a bigger defensive presence. I think that when Giannis reigning defensive player of the year, we also have Drew Holiday, who's a good defensive player. We also have Giannis, Holiday, and then you add PJ Tucker. Like those 3 guys, I'm thinking Brooklyn. I'm thinking, okay, now we have something that can equalize their scoring as far as on the defensive side. And the offensive side is a little iffy, but that bully that we need, like me and Dre have talked in the past about, like Milwaukee needs a bully. PJ Tucker's that bully.
I don't know if he's that bully, but he is defensively sound.
Again, man, I think once again we are getting ahead of ourselves. The Bucks didn't have any defensive issues. Okay, let's start there.
You don't think they had any defensive issues?
They were one of the top in the NBA. They were one of the top ranked.
We could always be better, but go ahead.
Defensively, the Bucks had offensive issues. And PJ Tucker, while bro gave them a B- or a B+, that almost C or almost A, whatever y'all want to call it, we didn't do anything to get better offensively. We didn't do anything to get better offensively. So now we added another player in PJ who likes to turn the ball over. Let's not forget that. Okay, great. I'm glad we added him. He'll help Giannis on the defensive end. Well, who's going to help us offensively? Who's going to make shots when Chris Middleton only wants to score 15 points? Or when Jrue Holiday has his every other month injury? Who's going to help us on the offensive end score some buckets?
You're a Bucks fan, correct?
I'm a season ticket holder for years. Okay, pre-COVID.
That just means you like to spend money. That don't mean you're a Bucks fan. You like to spend money.
I am a huge Bucks fan, but all I'm saying is if you are looking at Tuck to be added with the intent on being a better team for the playoffs, then you might be disappointed.
So you're saying okay, let me just get this straight because I was going to get this correct.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that PJ Tucker is just another addition. He really doesn't add or take away value with the Bucks.
That's not what I said. I said PJ Tucker adds defensive value.
But you said we don't need defensive value.
I said we don't need any more defensive value. Okay, to me, the Bucks are fine defensively. Can we always get better? Of course. But my trouble is the offense, right? We need to put up points. We need to score. And if Chris Middleton's only going to score 15 points and Jrue Holiday's only going to score 11 points or whatever, that means we're depending on Giannis to score 60. Right, just to make us stay competitive. Again, we beat the 76ers by 4 points. Points in overtime. Bro, that's not going to compete with the high-scoring Brooklyn Nets. That's not going to compete with the high-scoring Clippers. That's not going to compete with the high-scoring Phoenix Suns. Points win basketball games. Yes, defense plays a part. But if you're not making buckets, right, we're not getting Giannis, all-star Giannis that's shooting 100% because nobody's holding defense. We're getting regular Giannis that's going Giannis. He going to dunk, right? He might do a fadeaway every now and then or a mid-jump, not a fadeaway, but a mid-jump. But who's going to help the Bucks put points on the board? That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so, I mean, I agree with you. I do agree with you. Going into our next segment of free agency, Isaiah Thomas is linked to the Lakers or the Bucks.
I saw that.
Should the Bucks pick him up for offense? Because that's what he's known for. He's not known for a defensive player. He's known for offense. So are you saying we should pick him up?
I like an Isaiah Thomas signing. In fact, to me, the NBA has done Isaiah Thomas bogus. I wouldn't say bogus.
What?
What has he done to be blackballed?
He got an attitude problem. He's not. If you got an attitude problem and you not in the locker room uplifting your team and stuff like that, or a ball hog. He's been known as a ball hog. And if you're known as a ball hog, like a let me just compare him to Kyrie. You need to be pulling up. You need to be average, not even averaging. You need to be pulling up numbers where you make a significant change. I think with Isaiah Thomas, the injuries started to pile up, and I couldn't count on you to be on the court. If I can't count on you to be on the court, then why would I give you another shot? I think he deserves another shot. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I don't know if you could say the NBA did him wrong.
Isaiah Thomas who?
Wow.
You know, that's my saying, though.
Wow.
Isaiah Thomas who?
I
haven't seen Isaiah play in what?
2 years, 3 years.
Are we forgetting how he carried Boston that year to the play? Are we forgetting about that? The year that his sister passed away, and he was the hero of Boston. He was the poster child of Boston. And didn't they traded him? I'm saying he was doing fine in the NBA until they traded him. So I'm not saying Isaiah Thomas is a Kyrie Irving. I'm not even saying that he's a Chris Paul. What I'm saying is if the Bucks are looking for some help offensively, he wouldn't be a bad free agency signing. But that's all I'm saying.
The thing about Isaiah was he was hurt. That's why Boston got rid of him. Mm-hmm. And they knew he wasn't going to be the same Isaiah he was after that injury. Yeah. Especially being 5, what is he, 5'8"?
5.
He's short.
I thought he was like 5'10".
I don't know how tall he is, but for NBA height, he's not that tall. NBA,
he's almost a mid.
And that's why they got rid of him, because he still has some value, and people didn't know how hurt he really was. He hasn't been able to perform at the level he performed in Boston since that injury. Mm-hmm. So it's not just that he was blackballed. His injury took his level of play from here to probably here.
I mean, do you? Well, I'll ask you the same question. Do you think the Bucks should pick him up?
No.
No.
Who's gonna help us score? Who should we be targeting for free agency? And I'm only saying the only reason we're talking about. Remember, we're only talking about Isaiah Thomas is because he's been linked to the Bucks.
Okay, but my thing is, what can an undersized guard with very little athletic ability do right now for the Bucks?
Wow, you think he has limited athletic ability?
Yes, he does.
I don't want to say limited athletic ability. I get what you're saying. He's not I don't say he's not an athlete. He's short, so he's so it's hard to say how much of an athlete you are. But I do know for his size, he can put points on the board.
How do you know he can put points on the board and he ain't played in 2 years?
Well, he's
been practicing.
He's been practicing.
Practicing with who?
The All-Star, not the All-Star, the U.S. Like the USA participation teams or something like that in Mexico or something like that.
And who was on that team?
Look, man, I obviously I don't know who was on the team. I don't care about
Clearly, that. So what does that tell you?
So he was playing to get some scrubs.
Yeah.
The point is that he was getting some practicing. God, man, he went at the Y.
Well, the NBA is full of scrubs, so let's just add one more if that's what you're saying.
So league full of scrubs.
That's what you said. You said he played with some scrubs. The NBA is full of scrubs. You kidding me? Give me they some players on the Bucks that's not Giannis, Middleton, Drew Holiday, and now PJ Tucker.
I didn't say he was playing against scrubs. That was Zeke who said he was playing against some scrubs. I just said who was on the team.
You said a team full of scrubs.
No, that's not what I said.
That is exactly what you said.
He said a team full of scrubs.
I said a team full of scrubs. I want to talk about the Bucks. Milwaukee represent 414.
Represent
414.
What it do?
I was saying that the USA participation team he said they were some bunch of scrubs.
Yes, you did.
I did not say that.
You said
yes,
that.
I said who? I said who was on that team? That's what I said.
You said a bunch of scrubs.
Indicating that they were some scrubs.
He said a team full of scrubs.
Well, when we play the tape back, one of y'all said it. So all I'm saying is if the NBA got a bunch of scrubs.
I wasn't talking. So
if the NBA has a bunch of scrubs, how come Isaiah Thomas can't get a chance to be a scrub on a team led by Giannis? That's all I'm saying.
That's a waste of money.
Cheap money.
He would be signing for like the veteran minimum.
It's some other players that we can pick up for that veteran minimum.
Who?
So I'm glad you mentioned that because we're going to go into a little game called Trade, Keep, or Release. We got some free agents that's been leaked since the free agents deadline is next week Thursday. So we got some names out there that's been circling for the last couple months, and these guys are either going to be kept on their team, they're going to be traded, or they're going to be released, usually through a buyout. So let's start with our first contestant, Andre Drummond, my boy, Andre Drummond, double.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? Right now he's with Cleveland Cavaliers. He literally hasn't been playing for like the last month and a half. I blame Draymond Green, but that's a whole nother story. But he literally hasn't been playing because they're looking to buy him out. But I think they're holding on to him because they want a big trade.
Yep.
Put your GM hats on, guys. Yep. What are you doing?
Trading.
Andre Drummond.
Trading. You got to get some value for him. Cleveland, I always use the saying, don't get LeBron. Okay, when LeBron left Cleveland the first time, they should have been ready, but they were not ready. I mean, it destroyed that franchise. Yeah, got him a couple number one draft picks, a good one being Kyrie, a terrible one being Anthony Bennett. But if you want some value for that walking double-double known as Drummond, you better trade him to get some value. Because if you buy him out, you're going to lose because he's going to a contender. It's time for Drummond to compete for a title. I mean, he can't shoot free throws. He's a turnover king. But the man can get you some numbers. In the post, rebounds, I'll take him on my team.
What's a significant double-double? What's a significant double-double? And the fact that you said that he's on the Bucks is a horrible fit.
He would be terrible, but I'll take him.
You would take him?
Over PJ Tucker.
Over PJ Tucker?
Sure would take Drummond over PJ Tucker.
Hold on a second here. Are you telling me you would keep him just because he's a double-double? Where is he going to get double-double at? He's just going to be in the way of Giannis.
Where do you think PJ's going to get his from? Yeah. Think about your argument.
Okay.
You're saying that does not make any sense at all.
How does it make any sense at all?
Doesn't make any sense.
PJ Tucker is a perimeter player and a defender. That's what his area is. It's usually the corner three. That's what his area is. He's not going to go.
What games have you been watching?
He's not going to be driving to the. Where do you think? How do you think PJ Tucker got his claim to fame? when he was
they had a good year.
When he was
They had a good year. That's how he got his claim to fame.
When he was getting kicked out, when he was getting the ball kicked out to him, he was usually in the corner for the three. Matter of fact, when he came to Milwaukee, his first practice, what he was doing, practicing his corner threes.
As a GM, I am taking, if I had the chance, I would take Drummond over Tucker. I would. Because, again, it takes a lot of PJ's a great ad for the Bucks, right? But, again, Drummond, although we know he's going to play in the post, that can be helpful to the Bucks. So, but again, if I'm a GM, you're going to trade Drummond for some value. Otherwise, you're going to risk him walking and not getting anything.
So, what are you looking to get for Drummond? Because that's the kind of valuable player he is as far as like value. That would determine the value. What are you trying to get out of him?
I think for me, if I'm trading him to a contender, you're probably looking at some draft picks because most contenders won't trade a valuable piece right now. They might trade a couple scrubs. Like I think the Bucks traded, and I hate to call them this, but the Bucks traded DJ Augustine or DJ Wilson and Augustine, right?
Yeah, both of them.
They traded both of them. And I mean, unless you're from Milwaukee, you probably don't know who either of those players are because they don't get a lot of tick. And Houston is obviously rebuilding.
Yeah,
they're rebuilding, so they're saying just everybody's up for grabs. I mean, especially with our boy John Wall looking like they're gonna shut him down again. So they're like, let's just get rid of the squad.
If I'm Cleveland, I'm trading them.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm anybody else in the league, I'm looking for a buyout because you're gonna have to give up something that you don't want to give up to get him.
Right.
In the market he's in, he's not in a tradable market right now because there's not a lot of players with his value, that has his contract value to get traded for. That people are willing to give away.
So, okay, so you're looking. So, if you're a contender, which contender do you see Andre Drummond going to?
I think. Well, I was going to say before LeBron got hurt, I thought the Lakers were on the table.
They're still on the table.
I don't know that they are, but we'll wait until the end and tell you why. I don't know that the Lakers are on the table because the Lakers, without Bron and AD, are no longer a team to consider for the ship. Okay, but we'll get to that a little later. But I think Brooklyn will look at him. I think the Clippers will look at him.
I don't think he'll go to Brooklyn.
You don't think he'll go to Brooklyn?
If it's a buyout, he might. To win a title, if it's a buyout, he might. Remember, you said if there any other team, I'm looking at a buyout. Remember, with a buyout, he can go wherever he wants.
If it was me, I would probably go to the Bucks.
Really?
Told you.
I see him having the most significant value for the Bucks.
Would you take him over PJ?
Yes.
2-1.
You know why? You know why?
Why?
Because he can score on his own.
I told you. You put him in the paint, and Drummond can work that paint all day.
If it's one thing he can do, you know he can score. And another thing is, he ain't gonna let nobody go down there and score 30 or 40 on him a night either. You might get a few buckets, but he ain't gonna let you just go out there and kill him.
But to your point, Kesey, the reason that they're having such a problem trading him, he has a ridiculous contract.
Oh, I know.
He's making
$28 million a year.
So for all them turnovers, them double-doubles are good, but that's a lot of turnovers, Doc.
But you got to realize, look at the system he was in. Of course, you're going to have a lot of turnovers. There is no system set in place for him to have a role. So he's just out there doing what he do.
Yeah. So here's the bottom line. If they don't trade him, they'll get LeBron again because he's an unrestricted free agent when Cleveland don't make the playoffs. And someone's going to offer him a big contract. So that could be why he's still on the table, Zeke, is because they're waiting to get a commitment. You know what I'm saying? So the Lakers might be like, okay, yeah, we'll take you, but we want a long-term commitment. And he may or may not do that because he wants another big contract. And he might have another big contract in him. He's only 28.
No, I don't think he has another big contract, but
you don't think he has another big contract?
Not as big as what he got right now. He's guaranteed to not get another $28 million a year.
Yeah, he had 5 years, $127 million. So you're saying he's done.
He won't get that, but he'll get some money. He'll get paid, but he won't get that again.
So is he a $20 million a year player or a $10 million a year player?
He's in the boat of 15 to 22
15 to 22. What?
million a year.
Man, he barely lucky if he get 10.
Woo!
That's
fighting words, bro.
That's low ball in the brother.
That's
That's low ball in the brother.
Ain't low balling that Negro nothing. 10 million. That's number one. Number two, I can't believe both of y'all are talking about putting him over PJ Tucker for the system that the Bucks have. Giannis scores over 50% of his points in the paint. Now, is he a center? No, he's not a center. But you're forcing Giannis. If you put, let's say you have Andre Drummond and Giannis in the game, you're forcing one of those guys to step out of the paint. We've all seen Giannis jumper. Please go to the paint. And with the room, the real estate that they give Giannis,
come on,
when he steps into that jumper mode or he steps into that 3-point mode,
stop
what? PJ Tucker is look, I'm not saying PJ Tucker is a better player. I'm saying PJ Tucker fits better into the Milwaukee system than he does.
Why?
Than Andre Drummond does.
Why?
Because Andre Drummond is just he's one of the few. He's the last of a dying breed. We have a big man who's just a big man. He's not stepping behind. He's not stepping 18 feet.
He can hit mid-range shots
on a consecutive basis.
Yes, he can. He just doesn't. He just hasn't had the opportunity.
How come? Here, I need to challenge you on something, Zeke. You said there won't be room for Giannis in the paint. How come they can't play like the Twin Towers? How come they can't do what Tim Duncan and David Robinson did? How come they can't do what Blake and DeAndre Jordan did?
Because when you talk about what those four guys
in their prime, Blake and Dre made it work.
That's true. They did make it work. I think that, but if you talk about what these guys' skill set, I think a better example of that kind of is the Twin Tower in San Antonio when it was David Robertson and Tim Duncan.
That's what I said.
I know. I'm saying that that's a better example, but even with David Robertson and Tim Duncan, they were a threat to hit those beyond 18 footers. They didn't hit them often, but they were still a threat. Giannis is not a threat when it comes to his jump shot. He's not a threat out there. That's why they give him all that real estate. He
has a mid-range game.
He doesn't have a mid-range nothing. He better get
out. He has a semi-mid-range
game. Who
are
you talking about?
Giannis has a semi-mid-range game.
So he must be talking about that All-Star game.
Sit your dumb ass down.
Are you kidding me right now?
He's talking about that All-Star
It's not
game.
the worst. It's not the worst in the league.
It's not good.
As far as mid-range, I didn't say stepping behind the arc. I'm talking about mid-range.
Okay.
Back to the basket, turn around, shoot over you, jump hook.
He does that a lot, actually.
That's mid-range.
I know what it is.
I have a question for both.
Act like it.
I'm just saying. It still wasn't a good statement.
Hold on a second. I have a question for both of y'all. Gun to your head. He finna pull the trigger. Unless Giannis hit this turnaround jumper you talking about.
Well, I'm gonna say the sinner's prayer and just go on and be with Jesus.
Exactly.
Because under that kind of thing,
really, he gonna hit this shot or he gonna shoot you. What you think is gonna happen? He gonna hit this shot.
I'm gonna live. I got faith in you, Giannis.
If it's the All-Star game, he will live.
Yeah, right. If it's the All-Star game,
ain't nobody gonna hold
Giannis, I got faith in you, brother.
So again,
clearly,
to bring it back,
don't send them no tickets. Just me.
Giannis, you the man, bro. You put Milwaukee on the map. We are not hating. Don't listen to Kesey. If you ever see him, he hating hard.
Low key, they hating.
No, we're not. But anyway,
to bring it back. So both of y'all talking about trading him. Be honest with you, I sent him a buyout.
But what does Cleveland get out of that? They still have to pay him. What do they get out of a buyout?
When a buyout situation, he's going to give up some money, just like Blake Griffin did.
He will, but he's on the last year of his contract.
Yeah, he's on the last year of his contract, but I don't think anybody's going to willing to give up anything for Andre Drummond.
And that's a heavy contract.
The fact that because he's been circling around the free agent wagon for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Before the All-Star break, they was talking about what we going to do about him, especially when they acquired Allen.
I'd like to see him with Golden State. Send him to Golden State.
That might be a nice little spot for him, but they're not going nowhere. He's not going to want to go there. He's trying to win now.
Yeah.
Next up on the plank, we got Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball has been linked from New York Knicks to Chicago Bulls. He's been linked to Charlotte to go with his brother. He's been linked to Golden State. He's been linked to everybody, but nobody's busting a move. I think nobody's busting a move because it's lines. I want to say terrible. He just hasn't lived up to the expectations. Me personally, I'm going to keep him just because with the Pelicans, they have a small window to make the playoffs. And I think they need him. I think that his shot has been getting better and better. And I think the pair with him with Zion is something to see in the near future. It may not pay off now, but and it's all about his attitude. Like, I mean, word on the street is that like he really want to get out of here, and I think he just want to get out of here because it's not the bigger city, and he's barely the third star on that team. So I think that's one of those things where like I would keep him and try to develop that young core they got.
If you don't want to play on my team, go. I say trade him. Seriously, it's Zion's world. It's Ingram's world. You said yourself, he's what, the third or fourth option on that team? Barely. But like let him go, man. Let him go.
I'm thinking like Dre. I say let him go.
So are you saying release? Or are you saying
a trade?
Trade. Don't release him because he wins in a release. Remember, a release is a win for the player because they can go where they want to go. And that's how this super team era is really killing the game, but that's another story.
The only thing with Lonzo is he had the opportunity to show that he was supposed to be that next up. But I think he let Ingram take that shine away from him over there in New Orleans. And with Zion coming in and doing his thing too, he took a double back seat. And that goes to show that he's not ready to be that next level player that everybody's expecting him to be.
Yeah, and I just think overall he's good because he's in the NBA, but he's not a basketball player that teams are losing sleep over. Oh, we don't have Lonzo anymore. So what? We'll go get someone else that can play a great role player. So I just think Lonzo overestimated his value.
So do you think New Orleans is satisfied with Bledsoe playing a point guard now and letting Lonzo go and figuring it out later?
I think if Bledsoe understands that he's no longer the Bledsoe that he needs to be in Milwaukee or the Bledsoe that he needed to be in Phoenix, that they'll be fine with that. Bledsoe, you're just a distributor. Give the ball to Zion, give the ball to Ingram, and let them do what they do. If you're open, take the shot. So I think they'll be fine with Bledsoe.
So that's what you're saying Bledsoe is?
Or what?
You calling him a house dog?
I didn't call him anything.
Go sit over there.
I didn't call him anything.
Watch this.
Play your role.
And play your role.
Play your role. We're paying you X amount of millions. Play your role.
Play your role. I'm not going to say play your role. And to be honest with you, Bledsoe is cool off the bench. I think reiterating what I said before is like keep him. I think they need to keep that young core together. Like these guys, nobody expected New Orleans Pelicans to make a run at playoff run or to make a deep run, but I think you need to keep on developing these young guys and keep them together because his rookie year in Los Angeles was a disaster to say the least because he wasn't living up to the hype. So when you talk about is he his value to a team as far as anybody like losing sleep over him, nobody's losing sleep over him. But I think that he can go to a team where he can sit in a team and develop and soak in the culture. I kind of would like to see him and his brother, but I think his brother would outshine him with scoring wise. But I think that still he's a good value at. He's not the superstar that we thought he was going to be, but he's still a good value to a team. That's why I say keep him because what he's doing right now, he's not doing anything wrong to make you lose a game. But he's also not doing anything to kind of like make you win. He's just doing enough to be a starter.
Let me say this about Lonzo, man. Lonzo is almost a forgotten ball. Like, you don't even hear about him anymore because LaMelo is killing the game so tough. And so right now, like, bro, your stock has dropped. And so you just need to either be happy in your situation because you're not going to get traded to a contender. Who would want him?
So currently Lonzo makes around 8. What do you expect his next contract to be?
He'll get between because I think the NBA overpays players anyway. But I can see a small market team offering him like a $16 to $22 million contract a year because we tend to overpay Look what the Bucks did to Middleton. Look what the Bucks did to Middleton. Because you think about it like this: where else are these players going to go?
Are you saying they overpaid Middleton?
Out of all,
the Bucks?
Out of all players,
Man, that is not even on the script.
But out of all players you could think of.
But who else were we going to get?
But out of all players you can think of, you have to go to your hometown team and talk about the Bucks, huh?
What is with you? When did you become a Bucks evangelist, bruh? Like, stop it. Of course, I brought up Chris Middleton because most of us agree that was not a good contract.
So then why didn't you bring up Gordon Hayward in his contract over there?
That was terrible too.
That's worse than Chris Middleton.
Oh, and what was Michael Jordan? So what do we expect? He's known for doing terrible stuff. Shout out to MJ the GOAT on the court. But those management skills are questionable.
But I'm just saying, don't try to throw us under the rug.
I didn't throw us under the rug.
Chris Middleton got overpaid. He ain't worth.
I didn't say that he wasn't worth. I said that.
In front of me.
Well, I'm gonna talk about the Bucks in front of you right now. That contract was not a good one.
Well, I'll be waiting for you in the parking lot.
Well, let's go right now.
Can we finish the show first, and then y'all can go to the parking lot?
Fine.
World star. Anyways, I think that even talking about his career, his contract next year is probably going to be. I even see that being in the 10 to 12.
So you really don't think Middleton contract was overpaid?
You really going back there?
Look, he had to come back to it.
So you really don't think that's a bad
contract? I do agree with you. I just had to defend our team because there was some other players you could have talked about besides our Milwaukee Bucks, and we sitting here in Milwaukee.
All I know is,
oh my God!
All I know is
you could have talked about Gordon Hayward for about 30 minutes before you talked about the Bucks.
Number one, Gordon Hayward got overpaid. Middleton,
poor match.
Middleton. I don't want to say Middleton had got overpaid because I think he did enough to get that contract, and I'll always rock with Middleton.
I do too. With his 15 points.
This whole episode, we are really questioning your Bucks.
I don't understand. It was me at first that was on the Bucks, and then all of a sudden it flipped.
Because I'm holding them accountable. You're questioning me as a fan.
You hold them accountable, but now you getting personal attack.
No, I'm not.
Middleton, do you really?
You ready to put the gloves on with me because I said Chris Middleton might have not got overpaid.
That's in your head. That's all in your head. But back to what you were talking about, Lonzo Ball.
Talking about Lonzo. I think that.
Well, 1 second. Milwaukee. I am a Bucks fan. Okay, 8 years season ticket holder.
I'm gonna need everybody to go to. Two things. I need you to do two things for me. First of all, go to the 94 feed page and tell me you think Dre is a Bucks fan or not.
Wow.
And then I need you to go to his personal page and hit him with the Bucks emoji every single time you think this man is wrong.
Well, if you guys find my personal page, good luck. That'll never happen.
He's blocking people, y'all. He's blocking people off top.
The second thing is, if you comment on me being a Bucks fan, comment on the fact that both of my brothers here are more anti-Bucks than I've ever been on every single episode. On every single episode. On every single episode.
Why you bringing up all stuff?
No.
Why you bringing up all stuff?
Because he put me on trial, so I need witnesses.
We in the present.
No, he put me on trial.
Let the past be the past.
No,
and let's go on to the future.
Episode 1. Our producer here
are the future.
Episode 1. Our producer here looked at me crazy and hit me with the sit your.
Man, sit your dumb ass down.
He hit me with that when I was singing Giannis praises. So now all of a sudden, 5 weeks later, y'all want to act like something different? 94 Feet State fans, don't come this way.
They won the last 10 out of 10 games. They've been on a winning streak. They out here killing the game.
I'm a Bucks fan. Back to Lonzo Ball.
If we ever get there, you can interrupt it.
I'm just saying, man, y'all coming for my life.
We gonna move on.
No. Lonzo Ball, trade, keep or release. We want to hear what you got to say.
I said keep him. I said keep, develop the young core.
Okay, very good.
We all said keep. Okay, moving forward.
All right.
This you want nothing else
to say?
No. Go Bucks. Go Bucks.
Giannis
is an MVP candidate again.
Middleton, you know where you're at.
Middleton is great for the Bucks.
Next person on this list is LaMarcus Aldridge. Him and the San Antonio are having a peaceful departure. Yeah. It's always like that with San Antonio. I think he's overstayed his welcome. They try to make him into the next Tim Duncan, never really came to fruition. Yeah. I think that it's time for him to get a buyout. I think it's weird because San Antonio, all of their accolades right now are really based off coaching, because when you look at this roster and you look at the record, you're like, man, how are they doing this? Like all this stuff is just adding on to Popovich's legacy.
Popovich.
Popovich.
It's
Look, man,
Popovich.
I ain't gotta get these white man names right, okay? Johnson, Jenkins, these are black names that I know about. LeBron James, these are black names. I ain't gotta get these white man names right. Anyways, I was singing his praise. So the great Pop coach.
He's a great coach.
All these wins and all these accolades are just adding on to his resume, because the team that they got, I don't even think we can name more than 3 players on that team right now. But
All right, go.
I don't know. If a gun to was my head, I'd be singing the Lord's Prayer. And then
DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, Patty Mills,
Murray. Oh, y'all gotta do better than that.
Why? It's not my team. I'm a Bucks fan. I can give you the Bucks.
even with you naming those names, it's one of those things where these are noticeable people. Like, these are noticeable people. These are people that, he's a nice add to the roster. Matter of fact, it's next man up in San Antonio.
He'll want out
next man in San Antonio. Patty Mills has been there so long because he was the backup for Tony Parker. So it's one of those things.
Jamal Murray is pretty good though over there.
Jamal Murray is pretty good. He's a young and developing player. So I get that, but I'm just saying, like, back to the point of, they tried to run it back with the LaMarcus Aldridge as far as him being the next Tim Duncan and so on and so forth.
I mean,
and I think it didn't add up on both teams. So, like, again, trade, release, or keep.
So for me, LaMarcus is now, in my eyes, a veteran, right? Let him go. Because no one, I mean, who's going to want him right now? Unfortunately,
yeah.
I mean, who's going to want him? And
I think he's in that same boat as Drummond. Their contracts is so expensive right now. Who do you give up for LaMarcus Aldridge at his age?
Yeah,
he's making almost $25 million a year. That's a lot of money,
and has not really contributed great.
Think about the players who make $25 million a year right now that are superstars.
Yeah, that's true.
Which one are you going to give up for LaMarcus Aldridge?
And he's an unrestricted free agent next year, too. So at this point, I think San Antonio can just cut their losses, give the man a buyout, let him go sign with a contender. I see that he's linked to Portland. And usually when players go back to where they came from, it's signaling retirement. I'm not suggesting that that's what he's doing. But unless you're planning to call it a career, why are you going back to Portland? At least try to win a championship.
Because of Dame Dollar. What you think?
Yeah, but they're not going to win anything with Dame Dollar. And I'm a Dame Dollar fan, but we know what that story looks like because he doesn't have enough help. If they get to the playoffs, they're one and done.
So what you trying to say? Carmelo Anthony ain't enough help?
No, he's not. I'll say it. I'll say it.
Notice I'm looking in your direction.
I'll say it.
What is wrong with him?
I mean, I think that
did you have your Prozac today, Phil?
No, like Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony isn't Carmelo Anthony of New York. He isn't Carmelo Anthony of the Denver Nuggets. He's Carmelo Anthony
of a vet. He's a vet.
He's a vet.
He's a vet.
He's a vet.
He can get you. He can score. He can get you some points. But he's not going to help you win a championship. I was hoping he would have went to the Lakers.
I would like to see Lamar. He missed it. He didn't do that so many things in his career. That's a whole nother story for another day. But LaMarcus Aldridge going back to Portland, I would kind of like to see that.
I would like to see that too.
Just to see, because I think that LaMarcus will have an opportunity to show what he still has in the tank.
You think he still has something left?
I think he still has enough to not even push them over the edge, but make them a little bit more competitive, because that team lives or dies with Damian Lillard. Yeah. So if Damian Lillard has a bad game, or if he's not up to par, even if sometimes if he is, it's one of those things where that team still lives and dies with him. So I would like to see him. I would like to see him add another component to that team, because besides the double duo of Dame Dollar and what's the guy's name? I can't think of it right now. CJ McCollum. Besides that, there's no real threat there there's no real threat there besides them two. And McCollum is kind of barely a threat.
I just don't know where LaMarcus Aldridge stands right now as far as an athlete. You know what I mean? At his age. And if you think about it, we haven't really heard about him at all, really, over the last couple of seasons. Since he's been over there, all we've heard is drama. We've heard nothing about LaMarcus Aldridge has done this, or LaMarcus Aldridge has put up this. You almost forget he was even in the league for a couple years.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, because I think that once he left Portland the first time to go to San Antonio, that was kind of leading toward the end of his career. I ain't gonna say the end of his career,
but
he never made that big splash.
Everybody was expecting him to go there and take on that Tim Duncan role.
He should have.
He should have. He could have, but he didn't. And I don't understand how he didn't be successful. Whatever it was going on behind closed doors, but
well,
that's a big role to take on. Tim Duncan is a Hall of Famer.
But think about the type of coaches that he's had. I mean, he had Terry Stotts over in Portland, and Pop is a system coach. People play for Pop because of his system. That's why it's really not working for DeMar DeRozan. He doesn't play great under Pop, right? He plays okay under Pop, but he doesn't play great. LaMarcus has been in the league 14 years, and we're not talking LeBron years. We're talking Aldridge years. 14 years, and he's 35. So if I'm San Antonio, I'm releasing him. But if he goes to Portland, to me, he's basically saying I'm calling it a career.
Why?
Because you go back home to call it a career.
Why he can't just want to go back?
Because at his age, at 14 years in the season, the goal is to win a championship, right, Keith?
You don't think they can win a championship?
No, not right now.
You don't believe that.
You don't believe it either.
You don't believe
that either.
I believe in you, Dame Dollar.
I believe in you too with 2 or 3 more players.
Dame Dollar should have left Portland 5 years ago.
Man. He really should have left about 3 seasons ago.
I feel him on trying to be loyalty, but he needs to stop.
I mean, if I live in Portland, if I live in Oregon, I love that he loves this city, he loves this town. I love the fact that he's not trying to jump on the bandwagon of a superstar team or stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if anybody deserves a championship, is Dame Dollar.
I 100% agree with you.
So the fact that he doesn't necessarily, he'll scout a player, but he won't. I don't know behind the scenes, obviously, but he won't make it known that much. I want this guy, and even if he does, Portland barely moves on stuff like that. I think that sometimes when it comes to these guys like Dame, they get just, I would say, used and abused, but they're not. They're not taken in consideration when you talk about these GM moves and stuff like that. I mean, me personally, I would probably release him too, just because, like you said before, 35 years old, 14 years in the league. I don't say retirement, but he's nice to come off the bench.
You just said a lot of things that why they should release him.
Yeah,
but you still didn't mention $25 million.
I did. If he's buying out, that's on him.
I'm just saying, $25 million is enough to release him because ain't nobody going to take on that contract. At his age, nobody's going to take on that contract.
Yeah.
You got to be a fool to take that contract.
Yeah. So the
Milwaukee don't be the fools this year.
The next player you got on your list.
The next player I got on my list is Aaron Gordon, the high flying dunk champion. But apparently not good enough for Atlanta. I don't say not good enough. I'm just saying, I don't know what Aaron Gordon is an interesting situation just because he's on his last year of his contract. To me, Aaron Gordon doesn't do anything besides dunk. I mean, he can kind of shoot. He's not known for his shooting. He's not known for his defensive play. He's known for dunking. And he's an athlete. And the good thing is he's young. The good news is he's young. But besides that, it's one of those things where I think you can trade him and still get some good draft picks and stuff like that.
And just to clarify, Aaron Gordon has 2 years left on his contract. He becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2022. So summer of 2022. If I'm the Orlando Magic, I am cutting my losses gracefully. Trade him. Trade him. Get some gifts. Get some picks for him. Get a player because you don't owe him that much money. I don't personally think Gordon has had a stellar NBA career. To your point, he's good for some highlights occasionally, but he's injured a lot. When he comes to play, it's average. When I'm in fantasy sports, he is a player that's always on the free agent market because he's not contributing much to his team. So if I'm Orlando, I am totally trading him. Get whatever you can for him because his contract, he's making 18 this year, and he's owed 16 next year. And then he hits the free agency market. So if you can get some draft picks for him or even another great role player, I would ring the alarm on that trade ASAP.
If you're a contender, are you looking to pick him up?
For what? You don't need him. Not to me. You don't need him.
I'm totally with Andre. Just cut your ties, be done with it, get some draft picks. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, he's not a game changer for, I don't think, any roster.
Yeah. Because he can't stay healthy.
He's a baller when he's available.
Available. That's very true.
But I need some consistency, man. I mean, in this league right here, you need consistent.
Yeah, you need consistent contributors to the game. And what has he done for Orlando other than cry about that dunk championship that Dwayne Wade played him on? That's it. Y'all remember that? He gave that boy a 9. Knowing he should have got a 10.
Why? That was his opinion. Here you go. You trying to take away Dwayne Wade's opinion.
Let me tell you something. He's been on your ass all day.
Oh, my God, man.
All day.
I'm sorry. Whatever I did, brother, I am sorry. I am sorry. I know Dwayne Wade went to Marquette, but he didn't play for the Bucks.
Hey, he is repping for the city all day.
Jeez, man.
Shout out to my Wade family.
Okay. So
all the Wades.
So the next guy on this,
He should have got a 10. Go ahead.
Next guy we need to talk about is Victor Oladipo.
Woo!
This, what's fun? I find it interesting about Victor Oladipo because he has some great years in Indiana. He has some better years in Orlando. I think every year he's gotten a little bit better. He's been plagued with injuries lately, but this guy can still put up points on the board. I think he's just got in a bad position in Houston. I think that they offered him a contract earlier this year. He turned it down. I think he's looking for a bigger contract.
Yeah, I think he's looking for a max.
I think he's the only guy on this list who is even capable of getting or should get not necessarily the max, but close to it.
Listen, I have yet to see Victor play as well as he played when he was in Indiana. Orlando, he did all right. OKC, he did all right, but nothing like how he did in Indiana. He put himself on the map from Indiana, and I just can't see him getting a bigger contract than what he's making right now. I would, as a GM, I am not giving him over what he's getting paid right now.
So are you trading, releasing, or keeping him? He's in Houston. He hasn't been doing that good. I would say he hasn't been doing that good in Houston. He's just hasn't been consecutively performing in Houston because
I think he's still trying to find his way. So me, in the situation that Houston's in, I'm keeping him just until I figure out what's our next move. Because just think, they already some losers.
Hold up, bro. But remember, if you keep him after you called them some losers. I just got that. No, you are cruel today. Oh my God.
No,
you are cruel.
Not
today.
like losers.
I know.
If anybody can hold the title of losers, it's the Houston Rockets. They lost like 18.
But I'm just saying, hold on, let me finish. They've been the biggest losers of the 2021 season.
So what I'm saying is they lose again if they don't trade him or do something by All-Star break. He's unrestricted. He's unrestricted after this season.
But that also takes money off the books, or you can extend his contract, but don't give him what he's looking for, that 28 to 30 range that he's not going to get he's not going to get that anywhere. So he might as well take an extension and help that franchise out, because without him, they already losers, right?
They're losers. You made that clear.
You are beaten up today.
Because they have taken the most hits of any team this year.
Thank James Harden, the person that they're going to
retire.
retire.
And it started with James Harden, so
they're going to retire his jersey. They're gonna retire his
I don't
jersey.
even get back on that again.
They're gonna retire his jersey. They're gonna reward him for running him into the ground.
Because I will cuss their GM out.
No, let me tell you
for
something.
saying
James Harden, looking at Houston right now the way they are, he did the right thing. He's seen it coming.
But he's the problem, though. He was the
He's
problem.
seen it coming. Like, this team is just not good. Let me get the up out of here before. Let me get the fuck up out of here before my career turns into a LaMarcus Aldridge career.
I get it. So for Victor, to me, I'm going to keep him, but here's why I'm going to keep him, because he's going to see, to me, Victor's situation sort of reminds me of Monte Ellis back when he was with the Bucks. Remember, he turned down our 2-year, $24 million contract because he wanted more.
Yeah.
He sort of overestimated his value, and he got a small contract from Dallas, I think, for 2 years, 16 or something back in the day.
Something like that.
Victor's going to have to earn his next big contract, because I think teams are kind of shook on him because he has the injury bug, because he hasn't been the Victor of Orlando or Indy. So if it's me, I'm keeping him, and just it's an investment. Like, either you're going to re-sign or I'm letting you walk. But to Kesey's point, that frees up $21 million of talent you can go out and sign.
And that's what I'm agreeing with Dre on that one. It's either you're going to sign this contract that we're going to offer you. Here's another 3-year, let's say $62 million a year. I mean, $62 million. That fits his caliber range right there.
I'm gonna say trade him. I think trade him.
Lord.
Yeah, I'm gonna say trade him because I think that Victor Oladipo has he doesn't have much of an upside, but he does have an upside. And I think that if he gets to a team because he's been linked to Miami, I think.
Really?
Yeah, he's been linked to Miami. He's been linked to Golden State.
I like him and Butler together.
So I like him. So I think he can be an additional.
He's been linked to everybody. He's been linked to the Lakers. He's been linked to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
he's been linked to Milwaukee.
Yeah, he ain't been linked to Milwaukee, but I would take Victor in Milwaukee. Kinda. I would take Victor in Milwaukee, but what I'm saying is that I think that he can still bring value to a team, and you could get something back for him. So that's why I would trade him, because Houston is losers, like Kesey like to say, but I think they're a team who's in rebuild mode. So if I can get some extra draft picks for this guy, I would do it right now because I think that he has a much of a good side, but from here on out, it's a downside.
But what team is going to give up? What team is going to give up one of their almost max players? Because he's an almost max player.
Nah, he's not almost max.
I think
I'm just saying, with the salary the
way the NBA gives out money, I would say almost
the way
max.
he's max, the way his contract is set up, he's an almost max player.
So I think the thing that we're forgetting here with Vic, with AG, with LaMarcus is what team is going to take these players without a commitment of signing a long-term deal. So the reason that Vic can't really be traded is because he's not committed to signing a long-term deal. So if Houston trades him, you almost have to send him wherever he wants to go and hope that they don't play you. Okay, I want to go to Miami. Cool. We'll give you Tyler Hero. We'll give you Duncan Robinson or Myers Leonard. We'll give you 3 occasional sharpshooters, and you're going to give us Victor. What do they gain out of that besides 3 heavy contracts if you bring them all together?
I think that, but is for a rebuilding team, a young player like Tyler Hero and Duncan, and I think I forgot the other guy you just mentioned. Like, those guys are young, up and coming players, where Victor Oladipo is at the top of the roller coaster and he's headed on the way down. So whether it's injuries or whether it's just lack of skill, I think that this is the time to get rid of him to get something back, because he already turned down your extension.
Yep.
So he doesn't plan on re-signing here. He just doesn't want to be here.
He just probably wants to renegotiate.
He probably wants to. That could be a possibility too. But just from a GM's perspective, I'm trying to get rid of this guy and get the most out of the value that I possibly can. That's why I say trade him, just to kind of get.
You also got to remember, he did just come off an ACL injury, so he's not the same that he was.
That's very true.
So that plays a role in it too. I'm keeping him in Houston. I'm taking that risk on him because who else are they going to get over there?
Yeah, and I think too, man. Listen, Vic, if you want your money and the team, sign with Rich Paul. Rich Paul will get him whatever you want.
If LeBron ain't rooting for you, he ain't gonna get it.
Because also he's been linked to the Lakers. Linked to the Lakers.
I mean, everybody's been linked to the Lakers. I mean, with the LeBron James injury that just happened yesterday, I think that is one of those things where a lot of people have been linked to the Lakers. I mean, just to go into details, he had a high ankle sprain. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. So where does that leave the Lakers as far as where does this team go from here?
Ooh, I tell you, man, as a Laker fan, as a LeBron fan first, it's not looking good for the Lakers, man. The word indefinitely is a scary word.
Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks.
That's a high ankle sprain.
But I get all of that. But at the end of the day, you got to look at it. He went back in the game and still played after he got hurt.
Yeah, but we're talking about he's out indefinitely now.
But that's because he's LeBron James. You got to say indefinitely.
Listen, all I'm saying
he's the face of the team, he's the face of the league. Of course, they're going to say indefinitely because they don't want to spook the fans around the world.
Listen, this is what I'm going to say.
Because if you think about it, you spook the fans around the world and say LeBron James is out for the season. Mm-hmm. Just say they say that. LeBron James is out for the season. You have just changed the perspective on so much and so many different things, especially the gambling world.
All you did was, let's say they say out for the season. I'm going to be the first person to say, thank God. Because all that does is, as a Milwaukee Bucks fan, gives another leverage to my team to make it into the championship, possibly winning a championship.
Well, at least the Clippers have a chance to win it now.
They have a big opportunity.
They have a chance to win it now. So to answer your question, man, the Lakers are in trouble because Anthony Davis is still out.
He might be out for another 4 weeks.
You know, LeBron is out indefinitely. I know it's easy to say, well, other people got to step it up. But how much can you step it up without Bron and AD?
So that goes to my next question. Who steps up?
This is where Kuz is put to the test.
Who?
This is where Kuz.
Kyle?
This is where, no, let me finish. This is where he's put to the test to determine if he's going to become an all-star. Because he's not an all-star yet.
I don't.
And this is going to show, can you be that third fiddle that everybody is expecting you to be,
that he also wants to be,
and he wants to be a superstar. So this is your opportunity right here. You got AD and you got LeBron both out. Yep. Everything has to go through Kuz now, and because who else on that roster can it go through?
And remember, there's also some contract issues with Dennis Schroeder right now. He wants a renegotiated contract.
This is the time to show you earn that.
So they both better step it up. But let's be honest, in the Western Conference, without LeBron and AD, they could score 30 apiece, and they still might not have enough.
That's not necessarily, man. Come on, man.
What?
Things happen.
Things happen like what?
Okay.
Jesus can come down right now. Is that the things you're talking about happen? Because those are the chances of this team being valuable in the Western Conference without AD and LeBron James.
So do you believe in the Lakers without AD and LeBron, Keys?
I believe they can still go.
Stop dancing around the question.
Let me finish.
Okay, fine.
I still believe they can. The game, the next 5 weeks, 4 weeks, or whatever that they're out, I think they can still win 500.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't think you heard what I said. He's out indefinitely 6 to 8 weeks. That's 2 months, a month and a half at the least. LeBron is 36 years old.
I didn't even hear the timetable.
I didn't hear a timetable either. All I heard was infinitely.
Oh, I apologize. 6 to 8 weeks. So that's 2 months.
No, all I heard was indefinitely. I didn't hear
that
any
change your perspective. 6 to 8 weeks.
What are your sources, sir? What are your sources?
I told you I got them Stephen A. sources, man. I didn't talk to everybody. Okay, I got them Stephen A. sources.
Hey, well, if Woj ain't tweeted it, then we don't believe it.
Oh, don't call that. You gonna believe the white man? Ain't this about a bitch? I'm telling you right now, he is out 6 to 8 weeks. Are you telling me the Lakers gonna be able to hold down the ship?
It's going to be
6 to 8 weeks.
It's going to be rough for the Lakers in the next 6
It is going to be absolutely.
It's going to be rough. But this is going to give some of those younger players a chance to step up and show their abilities. Even if they're not winning games, it's the experience.
I'm not laughing at you. That's your boy, man. Y'all
I'm
been going at it
laughing
all.
at you.
Y'all been going at it all.
I'm
show.
laughing at you because you're trying to sound convincing, and the reason you stop is because you can't convince yourself of that garbage just coming out of your mouth. So let me take it from here.
Listen.
Let me take it from here. The Los Angeles Lakers.
What did I say wrong though? Hold on. I didn't say he was going to win games. I said it's going to give those younger players some time to get some experience on the floor because LeBron and AD is not in there.
Listen, this is all I'm saying. The NBA,
you jive turkey mother. You keep counting out. Listen,
the NBA has maybe 30 games left. The Lakers, and according to Zeke, LeBron might miss all of them. According to Zeke,
how many games is it?
According to the schedule that we're looking at, the last Laker game is May 16th.
Okay.
According to what we're looking at. And if we're talking 6 to 8 weeks, there's potential that LeBron might miss them all. If that's what we're saying.
Okay.
So what I'm saying,
hold on. That, though.
I was quiet. Let me get mine in.
Go ahead.
I was quiet.
I want you to think about that.
So are you telling me that if LeBron James doesn't play one more game, you still have confidence in the Lakers to be winners?
Winners of what?
You know what?
Not winners. I'll say this.
I need you to explain that a little bit
more.
Do
you still expect the Lakers to be a competitive team if LeBron James misses 6 to 8 weeks? Do you still expect the Lakers to be competitive without AD and LeBron? That's the question. There is no running around that. There's no dancing around, as our big bro Zeke would say. Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Thank you. That's all we wanted. Thank you.
That's all he wanted to hear me say.
Let me tell you something.
Ain't no different than him wanting to hear me say.
Let me tell you something. This is a
MVP
podcast.
candidate.
This is a podcast. We're not on YouTube yet. But you look on Kesey's face when he had to say that is priceless because it hurt his soul to say that right there.
I mean, he's been sitting here, man. We've been talking about this for 9 minutes, and all he had to say was no. The whole time, it's a time for the players to step up. Kyle Kuzma wants to be the third man. Yada, yada, yada. Man, just be quiet and just answer the question.
Nigga, you shut up. I'm trying to have faith in my team.
I mean, just going towards Dre point. Just going towards Jay point. The Lakers are in third position right now, probably fourth, and the Western Conference is really tight. So if with AD being out already, LeBron being out a significant amount of time, there's a chance they might fall down to that 7th through 10th seed and have to play their way into the playoffs.
And listen to who they have to play coming up still.
And
Phoenix.
Also, just real quick, they have one of the hardest schedules for the rest of the year.
Bro, they got Phoenix, Philly, the Bucks, the Clippers, all in the next 8 games. Plus, you still see Brooklyn. You see Boston. You see Utah back to back.
We're not worried about Phoenix. Philly doesn't have Embiid.
You better be worried about them without LeBron and AD.
Philly doesn't have Embiid.
You don't have LeBron and AD.
Giannis can't shoot.
You don't have. Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that?
Now you can't shoot.
Now we can't shoot. Wait. Talk about America. My brother Keith. Giannis got a mid-range shot. Maybe he was thinking about Glenn Robinson like he was last week.
Oh
my goodness!
I was rocking with you, man.
Listen, man, I'm trying to revive our squad, man. Come on, man.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to revive.
All I'm saying is I appreciate your confidence.
And then the Clippers, Kawhi might be taking a low management day, so we might be good those next 4 games.
Are you serious right now? Besides me, a Milwaukee Bucks fan.
Guys, I'm being
sarcastic.
sarcastic.
Saying,
so
thank God these Negroes is out. If you think the Clippers ain't over there having a party, getting their parade ready,
bruh,
you got another thing coming.
Let me tell you something.
Listen,
I'm gonna just say this
the
before
Clippers
you
got
go,
some issues going on in their own house.
They do, but I'm gonna say this: with LeBron being out, you just made the pathway much easier for the Nets. With LeBron being out, you just
because they still got to get to the finals, but at the same time, that's not a problem. They got to get past the East first.
That's right.
So
the bottom line,
it's going to be a tough road in the East because there's some defensive teams in the East.
You're right. The bottom line is for the Lakers, if they want to stay in it, they have to just win ball games, and they got to figure out how.
So we just talked about.
So what happens if they figure it out? Then what? What you want to say?
I'll say they figured it out.
This is one of the greatest Laker teams ever assembled if they figure it out.
I say they'll figure it out, and now it gives LeBron and Anthony Davis a time to be refreshed while they're out. But if I'm the Lakers, I'm trying to get AD back as quick as possible because you're not going to do it without him.
You can't rush it. You can't rush it.
You can't rush it, but you can reevaluate.
You can't rush it, and you can reevaluate it. That's true. I think he's supposed to get one in like 2 weeks, but you can't rush it just because if you rush it, he could get re-injured at a very critical time. Even if the Lakers, let's say they get into that 7 through 10 seeded in the playoffs and they have to fight their way through, I think if LeBron and AD if the Lakers can stay somewhat relevant up to that point, like Dre just said, I think that the most scariest team would be a refreshed LeBron and a refreshed AD.
I agree.
That would be the most dangerous team in the playoffs. And that's not what you want because you want LeBron to be as tired as possible. But still, it's one of those things where, we just got done talking about free agents. So what do you guys think, if any, they should pick up?
The market is saturated right now. There are a lot of players that are unsigned. I think for the Lakers, man, if AD and LeBron are truly going to be out for the long haul, I will focus on people that can score. I like the idea of Drummond. I like the idea of Vic over there. So if I'm the Lakers, I would try to pull something off for those two players. Either one hopefully you're hoping that Cleveland buys out Drummond, so you don't have to trade any assets for him. But I would try to make a run at Vic. I would try to make a run at Vic because I think Vic would complement LeBron and AD great if he can get to the Lakers.
And then also a new scenery would be most of the time a new scenery is more beneficial to a team, just like it was for James Harden. I mean, if I'm the Lakers, I am looking, to be honest with you, I'm probably looking at Drummond. I'm probably looking at him and Victor too, just because those are the two guys out of all the guys we named who can still bring you some significant points to your team and still, kind of keep it alive until LeBron James and AD comes back.
Mm-hmm. What about you, who you picking up?
Come on, man. I mean, this your team.
This is your team. Defend your team.
I'm going to go with Drummond.
Okay.
Just because I know he's a bucket.
I don't see him a bucket, but
okay. He can score. He's a bucket. In the paint, he's a bucket.
He's a bucket.
You know what? I'll give you that. In the paint, he's a bucket.
And the Bucks the Lakers has a lot of shooters.
Yeah.
So which would kind of benefit him if he can learn to pass the ball out, and if Frank Vogel can implement that into his system where they drop it down to Drummond, and if Drummond ain't got it, you dish it out, they shoot.
I didn't even think about Frank Vogel because you think about the coach when you got LeBron James on your team. But the fact that I was just going to say this is the time for Frank Vogel to really invoke his philosophies and invoke some plans and stuff like that and so on and so forth. It's not like they have complete scrubs. I think this is the word of them keeping Kuzma, them signing Montrezl Harrell, them signing Dennis Schroeder. Like, this is where these guys need to kind of step up. But now it's more of a not get LeBron the ball. It's more of a, hey, guys, we're going to run this and we're going to do that and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of teams who have LeBron and the coaches get to, quote unquote, spread their wings and kind of put these philosophy out there. Most of the time they don't do well.
Yeah.
But, that's another story for another day. I think that the obvious thing is that the Lakers are in trouble.
Yeah.
I think it's obvious that other guys need to step up. I think it's these guys who just got signed over the summer. But it's going to be, because of this, though, I'll say that it's going to be a very interesting next 2 months in the NBA. Mm-hmm. Very interesting 2 months.
Mm.
But it should be good to see things shaking up just a little bit, across the league,
I mean,
and not have LeBron in the discussion of every topic. You know what I mean?
I mean, I agree with you because right now the league is a league without LeBron, AD, KD, right? You're without Joel Embiid. You're without MVP candidates. You're without MVP candidates.
And we might see history here with a 3-peat for MVP with Giannis.
he's back in the discussion.
I'm the only person in this episode that hasn't said anything bad about the Bucks. So the fact that Giannis can pull off the 3-peat for MVP, I'm all down for that. We might not win a championship, but we got a 3-peat MVP.
He's back in the discussion.
You did say something bad about the Bucks.
I don't recall that. Anyways, this has been another episode of the 94 Feet Podcast. I'd like to thank my brothers Kesey and Andre for joining me.
Appreciate y'all, people. 94 Feet.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Thanks for listening in. Don't forget to check us out at Spreakers, Apple, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcast. You can find the 94 Feet Podcast. Again, like us on Facebook, share, like, comment. Agree with us? Probably not. 94 Feet.
94 Feet, baby.